So to finish up here, I have a quick little quiz. I'm just going to paste in some code, and I'd like you to evaluate mentally, without typing this up, what you think this returns. So we define a function, and then we're calling it at the end. So what's returned from do math? So the answer here is true. So let's step through how that works. Very first thing, we're declaring num to be 8. Then we have a function do math, but that doesn't run yet. So the next thing that runs is num plus equals 1. So number is now 9. So this is the same num as this one up here because they're in the same scope. Then we're calling do math. So instead of do math, we're writing num plus equals 1. So num was 9. This is referring to the same num, so it's now 10. So all this does here is check if num is evenly divisible by 5. So 10 is divisible by 5, so we return true, and that's it. So as I mentioned, scope is notoriously tricky to explain. It's something that we've only scratched the surface of here, but we covered the important parts, which is that anytime you define a new function, it gets its own new scope, and it can access variables that were defined outside the function, but inside a function, if we define something, it's not accessible outside the function. So there's one more quick example I want to highlight, which is if I have two functions, one called hi, and inside of hi, I'm just going to declare a variable name equals Rusty, and then I'm going to console.log name, and then I'm going to have another function called by, and I'm not going to define Rusty there, but I am going to console.log name. If I run hi and I execute it, I of course get Rusty because I defined variable name as Rusty inside of hi and then I printed it. If I do this with by, however, I get undefined. And that's happening because name is not accessible in the scope of this by function. So this goes to show that every function has its own scope and they're not shared between functions.